Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Latched Mama podcast. Melissa here. It is Black Friday week. I am sure this is not going to release then, but we're here and we are slowly surviving. And today we are going to talk to our fearless warehouse and fulfillment supervisor, lead, queen. I don't know what we want to call her. She somehow keeps this thing moving and going for us. But talk about stressful situations. We're going to talk about surprise pregnancies today. You're listening to the Latched Mama podcast. I'm your host, Melissa Wirt, business owner and tired mom of 5. Join us each week as we talk about pregnancy, nursing, parenting, and all things motherhood. I feel like once you start working at Latched Mama long enough, you normally become pregnant or something. I don't know. It might be in the water here. Definitely. I don't know. So anyways, Amanda's here. Hi, Amanda.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Good. We are a little all over the place. I do not have my baby with me. So if I check my phone, it's because my baby is out being mothered and watched by the other wonderful people here at Latched Mama. But today we're going to talk to Amanda. Amanda has 3 children.
Three.
Do you want to tell everybody a little bit about yourself? And, I don't know. You've been here a really long time. You're the reason why they get all of their clothes. Pretty much. We can talk in Slack all day long about wonderful marketing pieces we put out or the fact Lindy orders them and they get here. But you're truly the reason why they go out the door, which is, pretty incredible.
It's
pretty
a little behind the scenes.
Little epically important. Yeah. You don't probably like to be in front of the scenes either, though. I mean,
scenes aren't my favorite. But, it's always good to be a part of this anyway, no matter if you're in front or in back or just, helping the train move along. That's what we're happy to do.
But all right, let's talk about babies. Let's talk about family.
Let's talk about
what do you
so
you have 3 kids. Talk to us about them.
All right, I got Donovan, 11 going on 30. His feet are finally bigger than mine. He's taller than me this year. It's happening.
Why does that happen? Why do they get bigger?
So fast. He's becoming a little adult. Or he will say, I'm a fully adult man-child.
Oh, yeah, isn't it crazy when you look at them sometimes and they look old?
What happened?
Yeah, what happened? And then sometimes they look like sweet little babies still. But yeah, no, it's hard.
Yeah. And then we have Curran, who is 9.
Okay.
Curran is very special. he's my wild child. He's gonna be special. He's gonna change the world one day. But right now it's stressful. He's so himself. He is unapologetically himself, which has always been my favorite thing about him.
I have to get you that sign. We have a sign hanging in our family room that says here's to the misfits, the ones that buck the status quo, they're the ones that change the world, Yeah. So it's good.
It fits. He fits so well with us because my husband's the outsider kind of in his family, and I'm kind of the different one in my family, and Curran's the different one in our family, and it all works out. And
he's
then
glue that holds you guys together.
He's a joy, but he's also a lot of stress, but he's a great kid.
Yeah. And
then we have Griffin. Griffin, my super surprise 3rd baby. He is 21 months.
Wow. So Amanda came to us. Amanda's story is one of my favorites. Amanda came and knocked on the front of the warehouse door 3, maybe 4 times, asking if we were hiring. And every time I was nowhere to be found. I was somewhere. And I think the answer that she got every time was no. And she left and she'd come back and she'd ask again. Right?
Yeah.
That's pretty much how the story worked. And finally I was like, I don't know who this person is, but why don't you just let her come in? And it was pre-COVID and stuff. And I think you sat down and we gave you a job on the spot and we haven't looked back. And
yeah,
she's grown from
4 years ago.
What did you start? Were you just picking and shipping?
Yeah, I was just picking and shipping.
Now she runs the whole show here, which is incredible.
Yep. I forced myself into your life.
Probably could use a little bit more support than you get, but we'll figure that out at some point as we grow.
We're always fine, though.
Always fine.
Always fine.
Amanda and I, you can always count on us being fine, which is why when Amanda found out that she was pregnant with Griffin, she was fine. No big deal.
It was fine.
No big deal.
It was a big deal.
So do you want to tell a little bit of that story? I think the strep test part is probably one of my favorite.
Oh my
parts.
gosh. Right.
So we keep strep tests in the office. I don't know why. I think I got like 2 boxes. It's so random.
We have
keep
a lot of random tests
strep test, COVID antibody tests, COVID fast tests, rapid, I think is the word. But so I had gotten 2 boxes of strep tests and I was like, hey, you know what? I'm just gonna leave one of these at the office because who doesn't want to run up at 9 p.m. when they think their kid might have strep and grab a strep test? For those of you who do not own strep tests in your house and you have school-age children, you can get them on Amazon and it's pretty incredible and you don't have to go to the doctor's office. Not that I'm saying medically test your own child, but it's kind of really nice. But anyways, we had strep tests in the office. All right, go ahead.
Oh, okay. So
I'm not going to interrupt you.
This was prior to knowing anything about being pregnant because it was so far outside of my realm of what I wanted and what I thought I was.
How did you, really quick though, I told you I wasn't going to interrupt you. I'm just going to keep interrupting you.
Fine.
People are going to leave comments that I interrupt my podcast guests, but it's Amanda and I can. But what were you guys doing to prevent pregnancy for those 9 years?
I was on birth control for a while.
Okay.
I just happened to run out and it just happened. So this is really terrible. But if something is outside of my 4-mile radius from my house, I won't go. So my insurance no longer worked with our pharmacy, the CVS up at the corner. And then they would only work with Walgreens, which, as you know, is like 10 minutes away from my house. And that's just not as far. I'm like, well, I guess I'm just not going to do that anymore. So I stopped taking it because I couldn't get it refilled because it was too far. So joke's on me.
Okay.
You know,
all right.
That's what we were doing. And then eventually it was just like, I guess we're not going to get pregnant because I'm going to think that it's not going to happen.
Okay.
Because that always works out.
Really, really well.
Yeah.
Science, biology.
And so, I guess it just took one time.
So
just that once.
So back to the strep test.
Okay. So I was feeling sick. It was, gosh, I'm trying to think. When was it? It was like,
I don't know. It all runs together.
End of May, probably. Towards the end of the school year. And I was just feeling, it was probably just allergies, but I was like, man, my throat. And I was like, okay, it's really sore. I'm going to take a strep test. And so April, lovely April, administered it. And when she's like, well, negative for strep, positive for pregnancy. And I was like, that's not even funny. And then I was like, oh my God, could I be pregnant? And so, as you know, working with a group of women, we often sync up in terms of our cycle. And
you got to understand, Amanda came to us because she was kind of bored. Her kids were in school. I was done.
She was donezo. Yeah, I was done having kids. I was past that point in my life. And, happy to move on and watch them grow and do their own thing and be their own people.
And she's like the football mom. She's the baseball mom. She's the one that bakes for the office. I mean, this was like, of all of the people at Latched Mama, it would have made more sense for me to end up with 11 kids than Amanda to have a third. 100%. It just wasn't I don't think it was on anybody's radar.
No. And so when I finally realized that a coworker that I synced up with had their cycle the week before, I was like, oh no. It was a Monday. I immediately left here at the end of the day, went straight to CVS, got myself a pregnancy test. The pregnancy test didn't even think about it. It was really rude and insulting. Home? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It didn't even think.
It didn't even think about it. It was immediately like, yeah, you're pregnant. I was like, oh my gosh. And I called my husband and I was crying and he's like, well, knew that could have happened. I'm like, I hate you so much right now. And then I went and I taught my body pump class and I came home and we talked about it. And, when there was the reveal, there was no big reveal.
Yeah.
As you know, I just kind of hung up the ultrasound on the thing. And your first reaction was like, is this a joke?
Yeah. So there was we have a dry erase board on the way back to the kitchen and the bathrooms. And there was an ultrasound picture hung up. And you guys got to understand, it's not abnormal for somebody to be pregnant at Latched Mama. Normally we have a couple in the cooker. We have a couple hanging out at the office being warned by somebody. It's not really abnormal. But it was a little. So hold on. Did you write? I think you said guess who's pregnant or something on the board.
Something like that. Yeah.
And we all like kind of went around. And I don't know if you were on anybody's list.
Oh, no. I think I may have even written, thanks a lot, April.
Yeah.
Because the joke is that April got me pregnant.
Because she said, oh, you're actually pregnant, not.
Yeah.
No strep.
Yep. Nope. But positive for baby. There was definitely a little person in there. And you didn't believe me. My kids, I remember telling Donovan.
Yeah, so how long did you wait to tell the kids?
We waited until we saw a doctor, you know, confirmed it was indeed a pregnancy. No use telling them that we're having a baby if it's not actually a baby. And I mean, Donovan was just like, I know you're lying. So
yeah.
And we were like, nope. And he did not believe me until I started like getting round.
You had passed the mark where like the kids were like, we want little baby brothers. We want, we want a baby, like, right?
Yeah. I mean, and they never wanted more. Yeah. So like, the worst thing that ever happened to Donovan was having Curran. Donovan would have been like the best first child.
Yeah.
And, he really likes the attention. And Curran never asked for a younger brother because he didn't really love having an older brother. Yeah, he's like, exactly. I don't need more of this mess in my life. So they were both really shocked.
Talk to me about emotionally. I mean, it was interesting, I would say, kind of as like a Latched Mama family to watch kind of the ups and the downs of those 9 months of trying to wrap your head around the fact that your life was totally going to change.
Totally going to change. And it sounds so terrible in hindsight, but I spent a good 7 of those 9 months just kind of grieving my life.
Yeah.
Wondering, am I going to love this baby? Because I don't want it. I don't want a baby. I don't want to do diapers again. I don't want to do sleepless nights. Yep. I want to live my life. I want to be able to go to the grocery store and, run in without having to carry the baby, without having to carry the thing. So it took an awful long time to really kind of wrap my mind around how much it's going to change. And, then you get into the, Mike's like, well, we could always, adopt it. I'm like, you're insane. We have our family unit. We have our 2 kids. We're not going to adopt out this baby. That's crazy talk. But,
not that it's bad if somebody
chose
to do
I'm
that.
adopted. And it's just like, we weren't in a place where it would have been, so it just took a long time. I spent a lot of time just really kind of depressed about it.
Yeah.
And in hindsight, it was a waste of emotion, a waste of negativity.
I feel like though, like all of ours have been planned, and I still think even there are times in all of them that I wonder, like, what the heck am I doing? Because the reality is you're stuck under a baby for at least that first year. Like, no matter whether it is planned and 100% like dreamed and prayed about and whatever, your entire life is going to change. And I know that ours are 2 years apart, and I tend to get pregnant at that first year. And then somewhere in that first to second year where you're pregnant, that baby starts, that 1-year-old turns into 2, and they start talking and they start being able to be with other caregivers, and they sleep, and you're like, what the heck am I doing? So I can only imagine the other side of that, with being surprised by it and not really having that, anything to fall back on, with the fact that this was planned and this was something we talked about and stuff like that. So
we definitely talked about the exact opposite of being done, finally being
you guys went on your own vacation. I remember you went to Jamaica. Where'd you guys go?
Costa Rica. The
Yeah.
first time that we'd ever been away from our kids, ever, for a single night, we went to Costa Rica. And now that's off the table for a while. I mean, we were just at the point where we could take the big kids and go snowboarding or something. And now it's like, well, I guess you 3 can go and I'll hang back.
And for those of you who are still like in the trenches of like new baby land and haven't watched kids really grow and get to that point, it is the coolest thing ever. Like, I'm at the point where like my first 3 can actually go do things and see the world and like experience things, and like I have this overwhelming desire to gift them all of that. But then I look at my bottom 3 and I'm like, oh, well, it's going to be a while before we're all together in one group.
Yeah.
I can't imagine kind of you know, having two that are there and realizing that, you know, hey, we're going to have this little hanger on her, but he is so incredible. Okay. So eventually, I mean, as you know, I'm just kind of the person that everything's fine.
It'll be fine. Like everything's fine. So, you know, it was 9 months of please let me love this baby. Like, please let me not resent this baby. Like, you know, there's a lot of negative feelings that aren't for the baby. It's just, you know, for the situation.
Yep.
And then, you know, you give birth and you cry and you're like, oh my God, like what was wrong with me the last 9 months? Because look at this like incredible little human that just came out of my body and just loves you unconditionally right away. Oh. And he does. Like he's
You're gonna make me all like
changed. Or I know he just thinking about him kind of makes me want another baby. Except for we're definitely not doing that again. But like I mean, he's just you forget when your kids are older. You forget how fun it is to watch them learn and grow.
And they don't really have as much angst at the beginning. I mean, they have like the tummy angst and like the sleepless night angst and stuff, but they don't have that little kid, I'm finding my way in the world with big emotions. This is the nice way of saying it. You know, I'm going to stomp my feet and talk back to you or not do my homework or whatever. They just are so just pure and innocent and like, just little cuddly little things.
I know. And they just need you.
Yeah.
And you realize, man, I kind of need you too.
Yeah.
Like we're a pair. And he's so sweet. And I think one of the biggest takeaways from it is watching my older two. Like you see a whole new aspect of who they are as people from the way that they treat their little brother.
Yeah. And I mean, whether planned or not planned or whether 3 or 6, like it is like moments that I will never forget in my life. It's those heart-stopping moments where, you know, like somebody's in the middle of a tantrum or somebody like my kids are obsessed with Mr. Beast, which is a YouTube channel.
Right, yeah.
And like I passed the baby, like I needed to go to the bathroom last night. It was like 8:30 and like the baby was just on each, you know how they like nurse on each side and he wouldn't go down. And so I just passed him off to Nathan, who's 9. I was like, can you just hold him for a second? And he's like, oh my God, he's so much better than Mr. Beast. And it was like this moment where like, you know, for a 9-year-old, like that's his life right now. Like his favorite thing in the world is, you know, is running around outside, you know, and Mr. Beast and his little brother, just hearing him say that, it's so silly, but it was like, oh my gosh, you love him, you know?
Yeah, it's like, I mean, besides the parent-child relationship, seeing that sibling unconditional love, like, and they're in awe of this little person too, you know? So it's really fun to watch him grow.
And you've seen sides of them that you wouldn't have seen if...
There are parts of my oldest in particular that I never thought I would see. Like he lacks empathy.
Yep.
You know, he lacks all of those caring feelings.
Well, and he doesn't really lack them. We just
haven't
them.
Yeah, we just haven't found them. And then all of a sudden we have this cute little baby and he's all of a sudden empathetic and he cares and he's like, he's crying. What do we do? You know? Yeah. And it's like, wow, there's a whole nother person inside you that you've just never shown to us before.
Oh, it's so sweet.
They can be.
What was I know.
Yeah.
What was that first year like? The stuff that you were worried about, the stuff that we all have to get through. Was it as hard as you anticipated, or did those beautiful moments kind of? Because you're at that. I don't ever call anything sweet spot with children because they're all
they all have their pros and cons.
It's all hard,
peaks and valleys.
Yeah, but you're at the point now where I'm talking about where like, you know, I'm always pregnant with the next one, so you know you're able to kind of. I mean, I assume Griffin's sleeping for the most part at this point, and you're no.
I wish. Oh my gosh,
is he still in bed with you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Like, and he's on top of me. Like that is his most kid, he wants to be on top of me, and it's almost at the point where if he were to sleep in his own bed then I wouldn't sleep because I need you get like, used to that pressure,
like your weighted blanket.
So he sleeps on top of me, and you know I kind of dig it, and I'm like stressed throughout the day, and I'm like, okay, I need you to leave me alone, like leave me alone, let me accomplish something.
Stuff. Yep.
But then at the end of the day, you just kind of sit in the dark and you're like, all right, like this is what I need at the end of the day.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And it's so sweet hearing you say this, because you guys gotta understand, Amanda's like I've said like 5 times, she's everything's fine. Like, we're gonna get through this. We're gonna unpack all of those boxes. I don't have feelings.
I don't have
We're
feelings.
good.
Yeah.
But like, watching you become a mom again has been such an incredible gift to those that you've shared it with, because it's wonderful. It's just like, you're seeing the empathy in Donovan. We get to see a little side of you that is incredible, and it's a gift to all of us. So
a little less hard.
a little less hard. I mean, a little bit
hard.
more vulnerable. I mean, I think motherhood, the beautiful moments and the hard moments, I mean, it you can't hide them. It's like, and that's, I think, some of the beauty of this place is that, I feel like some of that motherhood vulnerability, hopefully vulnerability in general, is, accepted and embraced, and, you get to bring your full self here.
It's like when you talk about this place, like, my experience being a new mom was totally different.
Yeah.
This time around, like, everything's different. But, 10 years ago when I had a new baby and it was Donovan and my oldest, we were here by ourselves. I had no friends.
Yeah.
I didn't know about anything.
Yeah.
And so, coming around this time, it's, you have that prior knowledge, but then you also have a sounding board. Like, there's so many moms here. It's just like, hey, Melissa, have you experienced? And you're like, oh, yeah, nothing to worry about. You're
you talk to Lindy and I about anything, and we're like, oh, it's fine.
Yep.
It's good. I had a baby that had that. You're good. It's fine. But it's also like the idea that, like, I walked in this morning and, I was about to call him Benjamin. He's not Benjamin. He's Matthew, because I have so many of them. But he's 5 weeks old, and like, I just handed him to April. Like, no, didn't even think twice about it, and just said, hey, I've got to go podcast. Do you mind? And like, we were just on the call, and there were like 4 people trying to get the ring sling on April and get them all settled and stuff. Like, it's such an amazing community, and I just hope we're able to replicate it everywhere. But I don't know. It's just been such a cool path to watch you walk down. Like, it's been, I don't know, it's been such a gift to us too. And little Griffin's a gift to us. He kind of had his own little time in the warehouse. He was the only warehouse baby
for a couple weeks.
Yeah. And it was cool. He was our little COVID one too. He was
the first one. He was born right before everything shut down.
Yeah. I don't know. It's such a cool little thing. So any parting thoughts, anything that you would say to anybody who's, in that grieving time? And I think the grieving process of the surprise baby, of life changing, is an important process, I think somebody would say. I don't think I would necessarily look back on it and be mad at yourself for, giving yourself the time to feel all of that.
Yeah, I wouldn't, I'm not mad. It just, like, on the back end of it, it just very much seems like I could have been happier, and I chose not to be. But that's not really the case. I think having that time to grieve is really important. And the hardest thing is that when you're going through it, you can't really say, oh, I'm really upset about having this baby, because, people are like, oh my gosh, what's wrong with you? And it's a real feeling, like the grief. And I think it's, you just kind of process it, and then you get through it. And then you come out the other side, and you take your situation and you make the best of it, and you just be happy with it, and you kind of experience all that love that baby has to give, and it opens up a new part of you as well. So, I don't think anybody should feel bad about the grief. I think it's just a necessary part of that whole surprise. Not all surprises are good surprises, and this one has both good and bad. And at the end, it's been really great.
Yeah. And I mean, you were not handed an easy pregnancy card either I don't know. I feel like between COVID and other stuff happening, and then also trying to manage this place while it changed with COVID and stuff. I mean, it's been a journey, but we appreciate you more than you will ever know. And this beautiful Amanda with 3 kids thing is pretty rad for all of us who got to experience it. So thank you.
It's a lot of kids. It's a lot of kids.
It's a lot of growth though, and it's a lot of blessings, and I don't know. It's just a lot of coolness that we all That's about where my postpartum brain is. I don't know. I think that it was really, really cool, and I think you taught us a lot too through watching you walk it. So thank you, and thanks for coming today and sharing it with us.
Thanks.
All right.